Welcome back to Booze, Bros, and Cars, your favorite podcast about booze and cars. And we're your hosts. I'm Eric.
And I'm Nick.
All right. We were supposed to actually have Mike on the podcast here again. He's had a couple of health issues, but he's getting better. And he was supposed to be on the podcast, but yeah, he wasn't able to make it tonight.
Thanks to him feeling better, he has a honey-do list this evening.
Yes.
And some logistics he's got to figure out. So he will be back, but
Yes.
he's got some family things to knock out.
Yes, exactly.
He shall be missed. We'll drink for him.
Yes, we will. Actually, I've got something that I just opened up, and I'm smelling it, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, I'm like ready to drink it. I'll show you guys here in a second.
I'm excited. I have nothing new tonight. I have some old shit I've already drank before and stuff. So,
well, a lot of thanks to you, actually getting more into like the bourbons and scotches and whiskeys and stuff. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna drink is actually like newer to me. So,
I'm sorry because I know that's financially not great.
It's not because
it's problematic.
because I bought 2 bottles. One of them, actually, while I'm saying this, you're gonna know that what 2 bottles I bought and which one I'm gonna be drinking tonight. One of them I'm gonna save for the in-person.
All right,
and then the other one I just opened up. But to, of course, virtual podcasts, old-fashioned, we're gonna be talking about what we're gonna be drinking tonight. So first up, I got the who makes this? The Brew Kettle makes this. So it's called We're All a Little Nuts Out Here. Right? No. It's called Monaco Chocolate Peanut Butter Stout, but it's got this weird, funky little character that says We're All a Little Nuts Out Here. So it
sounds like a Alice in Wonderland reference with the Mad Hatter, you know?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mad Hatter. Yeah. Oh, wait, where is he? Where is he?
On one of the sides.
Yes, somewhere. There he is. Right there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so 5.8% alcohol beer. It is obviously chocolate peanut butter stout. I actually got this from Mark when we were at number 3 last weekend.
Nice.
So Mark is actually, we talk about them all the freaking time. He's Brandon, which Brandon is the owner of number 3. Mark is his father. So we're really good friends with him. He's an awesome guy. So we're just shooting shit with him.
He's like the dad figure of number 3. He's almost like the lovable mascot in a good way that you just are happy to see when you're there, because no matter what's going on, he's just happy. He's interacting with people. He's your ideal front of house like person at a bar. Like, that's just mingling and having a good time, making people feel better.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Serving them alcohol like all night,
constantly, all the different tasters and stuff. And
so I got this from him. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I know I'm gonna enjoy this because chocolate and peanut butter stout. Why not, right? It's gonna be delicious. And the other thing that I'm gonna be drinking here tonight, which I'm so stoked to try this because, dude, it's maybe like a good 2 feet or 2.5 feet away from my face, and I can smell it. But it is Michter's small batch.
There you go.
Kentucky straight bourbon. So this smells so freaking good.
I know. So I think that was the first, like the standard Michter's was the first one I came across that I bought. And for what it is, being just their normal bourbon, it's solid. It's a solid bourbon. Yeah.
Dude, it just is. It's so like, it's not the right wording for it, but it's so floral because it's just like the smell of it is just there.
Aromatic. Is that the word we're
looking for? Aromatic.
Yeah,
yes, aromatic. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you for that.
I'm here for the vocabulary.
Exactly. Sometimes you can't English.
Sometimes.
All right. So what do you got here for tonight, Nick?
So I am simple. A little Glenlivet 15-year. I think this one was aged in some French oak casks. Some a little golden snitch glass.
Nice.
And then to chase it up in me and my wife's typical fashion, spill it. Espresso martini. Because
nice.
Yeah, we're determined apparently to just completely fry our espresso maker that we just got like 6 months ago. The thing never gets a break. So we go through quite a bit of espresso beans, and I burned for my wife's Tito's vodka pretty pretty quickly. But man, for something so simple, for literally 3 ingredients and different in different mixture, and yeah, it just goes so smooth. And everybody's like, "Oh man, you drink a couple of those at night. Like, how do you sleep?" Fine. I don't know. Usually caffeine messes with me, but I think I drink so much during the day at work that by nighttime, my adrenal system's just pretty much shot in a constant state of fatigue, and it doesn't even notice caffeine anymore.
Yeah, I feel like some people they overestimate caffeine because like, I mean, I've said it before. Like I grew up in Miami, obviously when I was younger, and being in Miami, obviously there's a ton of like Cuban bakeries, Cuban inspired grocery stores with delis and stuff. So I drank a lot of Cuban coffee when I was younger.
Yeah.
Or just a lot of cafe con leche, which I miss, but because it's so easily accessible down there. But it's funny because we were talking with Mike, I think, right? And then I was like, yeah, because he was talking about like not being able to drink like any caffeine at nighttime, if not, you keep them wired all night. And I was like, dude, like I've drank like a whole ass thing of Cuban coffee and I fell asleep like 30 minutes later.
Well, it's because you're like riding high for 30 minutes and the sugar crash hits and you're just like, boom, done, down.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
That's actually exactly what happens. But anywho, on to our talking points here for today's podcast.
A couple of them.
Yes, a couple of them. So the first thing, I don't know if you want to pull it up, Nick, is the Ford is going to be pulling up or releasing actually very soon a very interesting vehicle, which I think it's not just a concept anymore. It's actually more than a concept right now.
So right? I don't know. A lot of what we've seen are frankly renderings. It's just simply that I gotta find one of the good articles. It's just simply the CEO of Ford has basically said it's not out of the question.
Yes,
he basically made it sound like, you know, we're not going to put a V8 in the Mustang emblem on a non-Mustang, which I read that and I giggled, frankly. I didn't even laugh. I just giggled because then I'm like, well, what about the fucking Mach-E? And I say that as a Ford sales manager. That car should have never been badged as a Mustang. Mach-E is good enough. But let's see if I can find a good image here. There we go. There's a good idea of one. So let me share this up here, because anybody that ever listens to me speak, or definitely Mike speak for that matter too, just because we have children, we both have a thing for some big sedans. This was particularly an enticing idea. The idea of a 4-door Mustang. Like, you can't look at that and tell me that the roof line, the body lines doesn't scream something German, right? I get a very much Audi S7 kind of look to it. And you know, I am perfectly okay with that, being an S7 RS or RS6 fan myself. I love those body lines. So seeing that nice coupe styled, you know, stretched out rear portion of the kind of greenhouse here just looks awesome. And then knowing that underneath of it is a V8, if this were to come to fruition, not saying that it is, this is still kind of in the rumor mill. It's just an awesome idea, you know. And our friends over at Ford, Mr. Farley, the CEO, has been pretty clear that Mustang's a Mustang, and as long as he can help it, it will have a V8 in it. And they have no plans of hybridizing it either. They want it to stay an ICE vehicle. And as far as they're concerned, other variations of the Mustang, aka more doors, things of that nature, are not off the table to continue its lifespan. So I get a very Corvette kind of thing, because Corvette's talking about launching its own little sub brand called Corvette with SUV stuff like that, all sporty. Like, that could be the market they're going to chase and go after, and chase Corvette. Which I will never say a Mustang competes with a Corvette at a stock level out of the factory. However, I am all for Ford chasing Chevy and Corvette if that's the route they want to go, because that's just, to me, awesome.
Oh yeah, 100% agree.
And actually, stick shift.
Hopefully. Yes, I was actually just gonna say that one of the things that was said is that it will at least have or come with a manual transmission. So kudos to, I forgot the name of the CEO's name. Kudos to him, because he at least still wants to keep like the manual transmission alive with the Mustang name. and with a V8, so even freaking better, because of course, we're all about big V8s and we're all about manual transmissions. So,
well, the other thing to keep in mind too is, right, we've talked about the Chevy SS before, and
yes,
it wasn't well received at first. You could steal these things for like damn near 30 grand brand new as they were sitting on lots. And now suddenly you can't touch one with miles on it, 7 years old, 8 years old, for less than sticker if it's in good condition. Original sticker from like 15, 16, or whatever years they were. So I think Ford has recognized that there's still a market for this, and now's maybe the time. And hey, I'm here for it, because as much as we all love our LSs, the Coyote is a solid engine. So I think it's a great engine to slap into a four-door sedan and just let it eat, let it rip. But yeah, that's hopes and dreams for now. But if the rumors come true, we could be in for something fun in the future. I mean, what do they consider the near future? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, no, for sure. Actually, one thing that I'm very interested in, and sorry, I'm just kind of keeping an eye out on my internet speed because, of course, I have satellite and I can hear it raining outside. Yeah. So if you hear pauses throughout the podcast, excuse us. It's just my latency with the internet and stuff like that. But anyways, if this four-door does come into fruition and it is successful, I'm wondering what Ford can start off like with this successful four-door V8 manual transmission Mustang.
Might have lost you out there for a second.
Oh. Did you hear what I said, Nick?
Nope.
Oh, shit. All right. Verizon, can you hear me now?
Kind of, sort of.
Can you hear me now, Nick, or no?
This is, I mean, I can hear you now. You're not too robotic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, what I was saying is that if this V8 Mustang does come into fruition and it is successful as a four-door V8 sedan with a manual transmission, what can Ford start with this vehicle? Because obviously, to your point, Chevy did start this off, but it wasn't exactly successful. Maybe it was a wrong timing for the car, but the Chevy SS pretty much was that four-door or four-door V8 car with a manual transmission, and obviously it came automatic. But if this is successful, what can this start off like? Is it going to start off like another four-door V8 war between manufacturers?
I don't know. I mean, from a Ford Chevy perspective, possibly. I think Dodge has made it very clear that the Dodge that we know and some people love is pretty much dead. They're, for the longest time, Dodge, you're right, because so with the EPA in this country, you have to maintain your fleet at a certain EPA rating based on total production. With the EPA estimates are for the cars to maintain a fleet EPA mile per gallon rating of a certain amount. I don't remember what it is because, frankly, I could care less the miles per gallon, so I don't really pay that much attention to it. I am not a manufacturer, so it is what it is. But for whatever reason, Dodge is losing that little internal battle, it seems, and they're going more EV, more hybridization, smaller engines, things of that nature. Not that they're new. I think they call it the Hurricane high output straight six twin turbo. Is anything to ignore? That thing seems pretty damn hardy. And we love our straight twin turbo sixes between Supras, Skylines, the BMW power plants. I mean, it's a solid engine choice. But I think they're kind of out. Would I hate to see a four-door Charger Challenger with a twin turbo straight six putting out like 600 horsepower? Not at all. That'd be awesome. I just don't see Dodge making a sudden change now that they've already gone into this new design styling, talking about the alternative fuels and stuff like that. But you've got Chevy out there. In theory, could the Germans play ball again? And all they got to do is throw a manual in some of their M cars and they're done. And like the M5 specifically, which would be a monster. Or even if they offered an M5, was it the M550? Even something like that with a manual again would be pretty cool. So could it? Yes. Will it in the US? I don't know, man. I mean, we're a dying breed, those of us that want the manual transmission, unfortunately, especially as a 4-door family type sedan.
Yeah.
So some of that are yet to be seen. And
that is actually very true.
Battle. I just want somebody to give me a 4-door V8 sedan with a stick shift
transmission
that I can buy with a warranty. Because
is a slightly dying brand. Wait, hold on.
Just my twisted mind.
Nick, can you hear me?
Lose Eric here to the hells of the rain and satellite. Don't worry, buddy.
Nick,
I'll
can you hear me?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna get Eric back on this, and I don't know if I should talk about the neg. I hear you.
Okay, there it is. Wow,
I was about to move on to the next talking point without you here. I was going to kind of swing into it, give a whole spiel about what I'm thinking about the battle of 4-door V8 sedans could be and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like you got to watch the episode to see what I said. Yeah. So yeah. But the short of it is, I don't foresee that battle happening, and frankly, I don't care. I just want somebody to give me a 6-speed or 7-speed manual transmission V8 sedan that I can fit the family in. And that's kind of it. I mean, that could peel me away from the SUV thing for a little while. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, nice.
We shall see. I will tell.
Yes, we shall see. But sorry, I'm like eyeing the hell out of my freaking bandwidth and latency. But yeah, so I was gonna try to make a point here, but I forgot what I was gonna say because I'm like paying attention to the weather right now. Shitty thing about having satellite internet. I mean, this is unfortunately the fastest thing that I can get, but weather, thanks Mother Nature, kind of screwed me out of recording a seamless or smoothless or smooth podcast here. But yeah, I don't know. Like it'll be interesting. I think you're right. It may not actually spark an actual V8 war or 4-door war with cars to have like real 4-door sports cars, because I don't think we've actually had a real 4-door sports car in like a while. I mean we have, but I mean like we haven't had like a good lineup, right? Because Nissan likes to say that the Maxima is a 4-door sports car. That's a lie. It's not a sports car. But we'll see what this hopefully soon to be released vehicle kind of sparks. I'm actually interested to see what it can do to the whole 4-door vehicle game. But anyways, on to the next talking point, which I'm really hoping that my internet doesn't shit out on me, because I have a lot of shit to say about this. I have my input on it. So does Nick. But we've mentioned it before here on the podcast that Hyundai is going to be releasing it's a hydrogen vehicle.
Hydrogen electric alternative vehicle.
Yeah.
And they are basically calling it a hydrogen supercar from Hyundai.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the car has been mentioned before.
Yeah.
But now it is much more realistic. And some people may guess what we're talking about already, but before I even kind of go into it, I have it pulled up to show people. Again, the reason that it is so likely is because the reports are that parts for this particular vehicle are already being built from one of their supplier partners. So that means some big things could be coming. This car may become a reality. And to be clear, the reality of this car is a Hyundai Halo car. This is not your everyday, I can afford this car. Like it's not an Elantra. It's not a replacement to the Genesis Coupe. It is far from that price point what they're talking about. However, if it works as a hero car at this high hydrogen electric supercar level, it may very well work, to our buddy Mike's point, as them throwing a nice Elantra N engine into there, or even the Sonata N line, 2.5 turbo, and let this thing rip. So I will share this up here so you guys can kind of see. This came across our screens today from the drive. Again, it's a rumor. However, this isn't a rumor saying the manufacturer might do it. They're saying that a inside source has said they're building parts for it already. And it's this guy.
Yep. It's the N74.
So the concept is the N-Vision 74, but they're saying that the production car will simply be called a Hyundai N74, just to shorten it out, because they use the Vision terminology for all their concepts lately. So they'll basically pull the Vision name out, actually, based on the price point, which we'll talk about, they might make a whole lot of tweaks. I mean, they are basically talking about this thing being a street legal racing supercar from Hyundai. Now, typically expensive cars are limited in number, and the word on the street is they will limit this to 200 units as it sits, as it looks like this. Now, that's 100 per year. I think they said for 2026 and 2027, maybe 25, 26. I'm not really 100% sure. But those kind of numbers, we were talking about this today amongst ourselves, that's rarer than some of the Porsches. That's rarer than some of the Lamborghini models. It will be unique. And to that point, to that rarity, I'll let Eric talk about the price point that we read about.
Yeah, and you see, that's where Hyundai lost me, because the price point of the car, even as rare of a car that it is, because there's only going to be 200 examples of this, is $370,000. $370,000. Like I said, I'm a fan of the car. I'm a fan of the idea. I'm a fan of the concept. The price point itself, I'm out. Because for that price, you can get a good amount of very reputable high-end vehicles like Huracan, Porsche 911, possibly a GT3 if you are able to actually get a made to sample, actually, allocation, because I know that you have to actually buy X amount of number of cars and whatever. But if you are able to, you can get one of those McLaren's, like, name it. Like, you can get a car that has some history and has made a name for itself, but you're paying $370,000 for a Hyundai.
So where I don't disagree with you that you can buy cars with history, what I will say is this car will make history for Hyundai to be able to do this. And we talked about today, and it was like, oh, who's going to buy that? I believe if they open up orders for these things within a week, they're all claimed. That's my personal belief. I mean, and to the point we're talking about today of rarity, like where we live in Southwest Florida, there's a lot of money. We don't have it yet, but there's a lot of it down here. Almost daily, I see a McLaren, I see Lambos, I see Ferraris, I see GT3s and GT2s on the street almost daily. They're no longer rare to me. I see them all the time. But if there's only 200 of these things worldwide, or maybe even just 200 in the US, they haven't talked about what the market might be. Like, that is pretty insane. I mean, yeah, sure, they're not going to be like every Bugatti out there where in some way, shape, or form it's a one of one because this one's got a purple speckle here and that one doesn't, like dumb shit like that. But this will make these things very unique. One of the things that I find pretty cool about this is when it first came out as a concept, and a running concept at that, it had 671 horsepower. They're saying that the rumors now with some tweaks they've made is they expect this thing to put out 764 horsepower when it's released. If this is a true rumor and they make 200 of these, they're talking about 764 horsepower out of one of these hydrogen electric things. Now, again, that's wild. And everybody will sit there and say, and Eric said it earlier, and I said, we don't say these words. He's like, it's just a Hyundai, or it's still a Hyundai. That's something that hurts my heart a little bit because I was with the company for a good bit of time, and they were good to me. But, at $370K, are people going to sit there and be like, nah, that's crazy? Or are people going to be like, oh, hey, that's a badass car. I want to be one of only 200 people in the world to have one. Like, I got to have it. I think enough people out there are going to be like, I got to have it. and they're going to pick it up. And I hope they do, because I think that then springboards this thing to the potential of becoming a subdued, to an extent, because this is not a realistic street car for a daily basis, but a subdued version of this, maybe a little less aero, more realistic street wheels, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see this as a normal street car, in that, again, rear wheel drive, make it all wheel drive, make it fun, make it sub 50 grand if you can. Hell, sub 60 grand in today's market with the way inflation's taking everything. And I think Hyundai would have a hell of a little sports car to replace the Genesis Coupe.
I feel like that price point right there that you just kind of briefly mentioned, like 50, sub 50 to 60 grand. I feel like it would be like a good mark for them, especially depending on what motor and drivetrain they actually put into it.
Right.
Possibly drop in. I mean, if they do a 4-cylinder from the N line, maybe bring the price down a little bit. But honestly, what I would like to see is for them to drop the 3.3 V6.
Well, they've sunsetted that. Now they've bumped them over to a 3.5 now, 3.5 twin turbo 6 from the Genesis. Now, I don't know if they would do that, because one of the points they wanted to make clear was that certain things were Genesis only. And the twin turbo V6 has always been a Genesis only thing so far, where the 2.5 is also in some Hyundais. It's in the Santa Fe. It's in the Genesis. All of the entry level Genesis basically have the 2.5, except for the G90, the big boy. So there's some potential engines out there. I mean, and even if they wanted to stick with the alternative fuel, it wouldn't take Hyundai long to come up with a 2.5 turbo hybrid system engine, with their current 2.5, with the hybrid systems they're already using in the Sonatas and stuff like that, with that Atkinson cycle where the hybrid engine actually sits within the space between the transmission and the engine itself. Like, that's a bit more of a traditional one, where obviously we would sit there and say, well, let's have the gas engine go to the rear and the electric motors up front, give it all-wheel drive. Like, that would be ideal. But I think you're going to bump your price point, closer to the 70, 80K range if you start talking about that. But still, 70, 80K for, let's say they come out and they make this thing 500 horsepower with a dual power drivetrain with gasoline and hybrid. People are going to pick that thing up, dude. People are going to sit there and say, hey, that's a cool M4 you got. Look at this thing. Watch me, drag you down the track or something like that. So it's potential. Yeah. There's a lot of potential for this idea down the road, I think.
There is. I just feel as though Hyundai came out with a freaking bang with this thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In a marketing standpoint, I feel like they did the right thing. Especially if they wanted to possibly, once the thing actually is released, because as far as the rumors are being said, it is going to be in production relatively soon, releasing possibly middle to end of next year. So
that article there was talking about production for 2026. So that would be probably building them next year to prepare for launch. And according to that article, a parts manufacturer is already working on parts that will go into the car. So that says a lot.
No, for sure. It does. Yeah. So, but I mean, because, and the reason why I'm saying that is because there's another manufacturer that I followed mostly because I was doing stonks, a couple years ago, and Lucid actually did the exact same thing. They released the Lucid Air, but they pretty much released like their top of the line model first, and then they're slowly going to start releasing lower trim levels. So it's not a bad thing, right, that they did this, because all right, so I'm gonna take one step back.
And Lucid made a beautiful car.
Like, it is.
Whenever I see one.
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous car.
Way better than the Model S. I think it's way better looking than the Model S.
100%. Yeah. Especially if you look at the Sapphire. Oh my god, dude, it's so pretty.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, is it as good looking as a Porsche Taycan? They're different. They're very different. But yeah. But sorry, I derailed you totally there. So you're talking about the Lucid and the coming down in the trim levels, but
real first though, I'm gonna say Porsche makes probably by far one of the most beautiful cars. Love Porsche
as a brand, as a whole brand.
As a
beautiful.
Brand. Yeah. But so Lucid, they pretty much did very, very similar thing that Hyundai is doing right now. You release the top of the line model first, and then you start going into lower trim levels. And I feel like in a marketing standpoint, they did the right thing. So, but hopefully with the sale of the first 200 within the first couple of years, maybe come what, because it'll be 26, 27, maybe in 28, we might start seeing different trim levels or a different trim of that car that has ICE motor, maybe hybridization, whatever the case may be, but a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
Like a fraction of the price more affordable.
Like I said, I think it's possible because one of the things Hyundai and Genesis, for that matter, have kind of prided themselves on in the last decade or so, or really the last decade. It's been that long since I've been with them. Is their concepts are so close to reality. People look at them and they're like, "Oh, that's just a concept. There's no way it'll look like that." And then almost every year they win an award for having the most concept close production vehicle that they come back out with as an actual for sale for the consumer. And they do a hell of a job. Plus, they also in the last 6 months released the new Magma line for Genesis. They're going to be churning out performance, not quite M or AMG, but they're going to be doing this more performance oriented Genesis. So I think this all goes in their timing of doing the performance Genesis stuff, which could lead to higher performance versions. They've got some wild supercar concepts at Genesis, and this is just Hyundai's version of a super funky, better than a DeLorean retro look, like little supercar. And I don't know, it's just badass to me. Even if it came out and it had 300 or 400 horsepower and 7-speed dual clutch and no hybridization, no hydrogen, whatever, that would be a badass little car either way. Just because it looks so cool. And having driven some of the N cars and stuff like that, they've got their chassis tuning down pretty good. My little G70 was a blast to throw around autocross, so I can just imagine what something smaller and more concise could do.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I didn't drive yours. I drove the G70 that you had on demo for like a day or two.
Yeah,
which it was actually a very, very fun car to drive. It was a very nimble car. I enjoyed pretty much nearly everything about it. There was just one thing that I wasn't
underpowered.
A fan of. No, there was just one thing. No, I mean, like the power I felt was okay. I mean, like you had the JB4, so obviously you felt it a lot differently than I did because I just drove a stock one. But there's only one thing that I was not a fan of, and I feel like Hyundai can probably learn from that one little thing, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that's actually ever said that, which was the reverse. That was my my only complaint. That's it.
Because there's no clear lockout. So if you're aggressively shifting from first to second, you may end up in that little like gate of hell where you're stuck, like you're going to reverse and you're trying to go down to second and you can't go anywhere because reverse is up and second's down and over. So that here's the problem. We've all driven cars. We've all owned these Mazda speeds with the little pull up or the push down. And I think Volkswagen does the pull up a lot. Kia does that too, but the speeds were the push down. And that is so much better for something with that, 1 through 6 setup, especially when you're going to have reverse that close, like for a car that you want to autocross, like that's dangerous.
Oh yeah. I mean, or just kind of like, I mean, I'm going to talk about like the brand just because I have it. Like the C60 Corvette, like mine is an 06. And when the car is actually in motion, it blocks reverse. So you cannot access reverse until you are, I think, not fully stationary. It's probably like less than 10 miles.
It's not fast. My mom's the same way when I learned how to drive that. But again, a company that builds a sports car thought of that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
What are people going to use this for? And that's, I think that was Genesis' problem, was they hadn't really thought of that. And frankly, I don't know if the Elantra Ns had it. I can't remember the Genesis Coupes that I drove. They might have been the same exact configuration, but I never drove one hard enough to know that was a problem. I didn't own one, so I wasn't going to beat on one.
Right.
But that was definitely a noticeable issue for that car. One of the few from the factory that was just something like that. Somebody let that slip. But
yeah,
is what it is. I don't have mine anymore, and they no longer make it. So
yours was
they no longer make it as a stick shift.
Yeah, yours was pretty dope though. But yeah, I mean, like, so back to the N74. So I like the car. I do. I'm not gonna knock it and say that I'm not a fan of it because I am. I am a big fan of the car. It
but not
def
price point.
Yeah, not the price point. Because you actually made a comment which is actually very, very funny. And I think it's actually been said in the internet before, which Hyundai brought back the OG DeLorean. Like, DeLorean isn't bringing back the DeLorean. Like, Hyundai
No.
is bringing back the
Well, the funny
OG DeLorean.
thing, and I think I've mentioned this before, is the original concept for this car was the 1974 Hyundai Pony.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said that
They,
before.
yeah, Hyundai passed on that concept art, so the artist, I can't remember his name, took it to DeLorean, made tweaks, and it became the DeLorean. So Hyundai actually passed on the OG DeLorean, basically, for somebody else to do it when it was supposed to be the Hyundai Pony.
Yeah.
And that's that. Now here they are. This car is a homage to the Hyundai Pony, in a way more badass fashion. So this car is basically what the original DeLorean should have been. And
Yeah.
kudos to Hyundai for basically announcing around the same time DeLorean came back to life. Like, look at this new DeLorean we're building. Hyundai was like, don't worry, we'll do it right. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it makes me happy because it's everything like the 90s, 80s, 90s JDM boy racer me wants to see on the streets as a modern car ripping around. So I'm here for it. Even if I can't afford to own one, I may never even see one. Just knowing they produce them, they exist, will be enough for me for now.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully Hyundai, if you guys are seeing this, I'm not knocking your brand. I'm not. I actually am a very big fan of your brand. I like the Ioniq 5. The end model looks badass of that version. I actually talking to this guy wherever he is on the screen. And by the way, if I do this, so right now he's on this side, and then we use this thing that's called Riverside, and they're gonna flip him or something. I don't know. Anyways, but with that being said, so I was telling Nick actually when we were at Sebring, was it last year? I think it was that we saw the Elantra N, like the new Elantra N.
Yeah,
dude, that thing is badass. Like, I would rock the fuck out of one. And I think it came in a manual transmission, right? Or is it automatic only?
Yeah, you can get it in stick. So it basically replaced the Veloster N. The Veloster N got the announcement of the new dual clutch option, and then they sunset the Veloster right as the Elantra was also joining it. They had about a year crossover, and the Elantra got both transmission options. So basically, you got a comparably balanced car with more back seat space is what it kind of came down to. But
yeah, and the two front seats of the Elantra N are ridiculous, like in a good way. Yeah. They're super comfortable, like bucket seat style. Yeah, very supportive. Like the bolsters come onto your side. Like we're a little fluffy, so like we felt it in our fluff.
Yeah,
but dude,
I felt secure. I felt held and safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was like the car just hugging you, like where you're sitting in the front seat. I would rock the hell out of one. So Hyundai is definitely a brand that's up and coming in the sports car realm.
And you mentioned the Ioniq 5N, and I just shared that video with you guys of two of them, with one being the inside camera of the car, and then the front facing camera showing another Ioniq N in front of these guys, and they're just trying to play catch up. This dude is ripping this thing across Nürburgring, passing sports cars. I mean, he is just ripping this thing, and he's got these other guys and another one behind him are trying to keep up with him. And it was wild. Like, now can it go more than one lap without a battery dying? I doubt it, but it was a monster because I mean they were just going balls to the wall, constant in that whole video.
Yeah, there was I watch his videos every once in a while. He does a lot of in-car footage and driving footage of him at the Nürburgring, which is Misha Sharudin.
I know that name,
dude. Yeah, I've shared his name with you guys and his a few of his posts with you guys because he's had a few oh shit moments because he's driven the ring hundreds of times. By this year already, we're recording this. It's what, May 22nd, and he's probably been on track a couple hundred times. It's ridiculous. A very, very awesome thing that he's able to do, but it's like also insane. But anyways,
Yeah.
but I think he was recently driving an electric car, and it may have been an Ioniq 5N. I think.
Yeah. Apparently, they released them on the ring recently and let them rip. So it's a
Yeah.
possibility. Because for anybody that doesn't know, if they've made it this far into our thing, so I got hair floating around from all the animals. Um, is the N in Hyundai and the Hyundai N? They say it stands for two things, right? Namyang, which is where the cars are originally designed and produced, and Nürburgring, which is where they test and tune the chassis.
Good night.
Those are my crotch goblins. Yes. But anyway, so yeah, Namyang where they're designed in South Korea, and then Nürburgring where they are tested and tuned and finalized, all the suspension setup and stuff like that is where the whole end thing comes from. So
Gotcha.
Hyundai, being a South Korean company, has some serious roots they're putting down in Nürburgring. And I won't be surprised if they start shooting for some of these, like, EV lap records and other things like that and different class records. So they seem real serious about it. I mean, between the cars they've run in the Nürburgring 24, the IMSA Endurance Series, and the TCR Series, the rally cars, these guys are monsters. I mean, way back in the day, even when Reese Millen was doing the hill climb in a heavily modified Genesis coupe, he had a couple of them, one with a normal body, one with a full prototype body. Like, Hyundai's been trying to do some stuff, and I think Reese Millen launched them in the racing because, I mean, that guy was just a monster. And sorry, cat. It's just kids with the cat in here. Yeah, so I'm excited for Hyundai, no matter what they do. I know I work for Ford now, and those two brands aren't incredibly competitive with each other, so I don't feel like it's a weird thing for me to support the two of them. But Hyundai was a near and dear spot in my heart for so many years. I want to see them do well. I want to see them be the enthusiast brand that nobody else seems to want to be.
Yeah. Real quick, is this the video that you're talking about?
Yeah.
So the guy driving is Misha Sharudin.
the one in the chase car or the one up front?
No, he's in the chasing car.
Okay.
So
yeah, they're doing everything they can to keep up with that thing in front of them, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, Misha's a good driver. I want to say that I think they had like a battery issue, not an issue with the car itself. I think like the battery just drained a little bit too quickly than what they were expecting because they were driving that thing hard.
Yeah. I mean, dude, think about that. What is that? 7.5, 8 minutes at just full tilt?
It could be. But Misha is a badass driver. I mean, like obviously when he started doing the whole YouTube and Apex Nürburgring thing, he wasn't as good of a driver back then as he was. I mean, he was experienced, but now he's just a freaking beast. Like he's actually driven in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. That's like goals right there, dude.
Yeah.
So
that's a feather in anybody's cap.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you guys have not seen the Nürburgring 24 hours, I think it's coming up actually really soon.
It's been a while. It should be probably due pretty soon here.
Yeah. I think it is actually coming up really soon. I think within the next couple of weeks. We'll post it on all of our social medias. Definitely watch that. My favorite thing to watch is like that really iconic what is it? The Manta? The one with the foxtail? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so. But to your point, it is at the end of this month. It's the 30th of this month through the 2nd of June is all the Nürburgring 24-hour stuff.
Yeah, because there's a
week.
Hold on, because I'm trying to find what that car is. Because there it is, an Opel Manta, and like it's known for being like the foxtail or like the little fox because like on like the antenna, like they keep the antenna up and they like strap like a little foxtail on it. Like it's just like hauling ass on the track and it's just like a little foxtail. Just it's cool as hell. But anyways, yeah, like that. So yeah, the 24 hours of Nürburgring, I definitely want to watch that. It's a very exciting race. It's very brutal because obviously within a Nürburgring you have 24 hours. One lap is 7+ minutes, depending on what class you're in. Actually, 6+ minutes, depending on what class you're in. But the crazy thing is that, like, on one side of the track, it can be like pretty much perfect weather, and then on the opposite end of the track, it can be pouring down rain.
Yeah, this is a large area that it takes up.
Yeah, So it's very exciting. So I highly recommend you guys to acquire some really good booze, really good food, and just enjoy some good old race cars.
Some good company.
Yeah, get some good company and just watch the race cars driving around the Green Hell, which is what the Nürburgring is nicknamed, because it's taking a few lives, unfortunately. But it's a racetrack. But anyways,
yeah,
let's go ahead and jump into a beverage recap here. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So the Monocle chocolate peanut butter stout from the Brew Kettle, really good. It was actually really smooth. I really enjoyed it. There was a little bit more chocolate flavor than what it was the peanut butter. The peanut butter was a little bit more subtle. I'm kind of a fan of that, or I'm very fond of that, because usually with a lot of chocolate peanut butter beers, you get peanut butter just like pretty much there in your face. This is like the opposite. You get a little bit more chocolate than what you do peanut butter. So I really enjoyed it. This is really good. It was light, 5.8%, like I said. So I kind of want to hunt more of those down and drink them. The Michter's, horrible. Was not a fan of it at all. I'm kidding. This thing is.
I'll take the bottle. Don't worry. You just give it to me.
Yeah, this is really good. I really enjoyed it. Very, very aromatic. Like the smell of it is it's so delicious, and drinking it even freaking better. It's really, really smooth. I mean, like, it's up there in percentage. I think it's it's 45.7% alcohol.
Yeah.
So 91.4 proof. Not bad, but still really boozy, but good. It's not like what is that? It's not overly smoked. It's just nice and perfectly balanced.
Yeah. I'd say I enjoyed my first experience, my first bottle. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you really can't go wrong with Glenlivet, especially a 15-year French Oak Reserve. That went down real smooth. That bottle's getting close to being gone. I got that much left in it. And then these little guys, just between me and the wife, a couple of these a piece, and we're in a happy place. I mean, the simple gist of it is to make a double batch, I literally take 4 ounces of espresso, and then 2 parts Kahlua to 3 parts vodka of your choice. We do Tito's because that's just what my wife supports in the house. It's a good price point. They do a lot of things for dogs, rescue dogs and stuff, so that's her thing. But
nice.
Yeah, it's so simple and it just goes down so smooth. And every time we go to a restaurant and we get a espresso martini after dinner or something like that, we both say the same thing. This seems kind of watered down. It's this, it's that. And she's like, it's no smoother than yours. I can tell there's less alcohol in it, and it's like a watered down espresso shot. It's weird. So we don't play that game. We don't water down the espresso. It's straight 2 double shots that go into this thing. It is a good choice as a nightcap, or as a morning drink if you're getting up and you got nothing to do for the day, like no work or anything. Obviously, no driving, but it's a good pick me up. Good mood booster. You know, they say more espresso, less depresso.
Yeah, for real. That's great. Anyways, and on that note, that's all the time that we have here for you guys today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate every single one of you guys that watch, listen, and are subscribed to our channels. So actually, apologies for also the internet issues that we had. Hopefully we can just kind of clip shit out and make it as seamless and smooth as possible for you guys. Also, remember to savor your brews, hit the road responsibly. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. Cheers to booze and cars, and we'll catch you guys on the next upload.
Cheers.
Cheers.